It is the 15th day of November 2023. A very good morning to you. Welcome to our news today. And in our top stories today, we have a lot lined up for you. But first, let's look at our key stories. Amnesty wants life imprisonment sentence reduced to 20 years. Government makes U-turn on plan to increase ID charges to 2,000 Kenyan shillings. 5 suspects in 94 million Quickmart haze detained for 10 days. And Qatar urges Israel and Hamas to make hostage deal. Welcome again, I'm your host Clement Ouma. Amnesty International now proposes a 20-year term limit for life imprisonment offenders. This is in the wake of a proposal by the judiciary seeking to make changes to the penalties given to capital offenders. Amnesty International Kenya Executive Director Irungu Houston says the human rights organization wants the term reduced to 20 years and focus on rehabilitating convicts to upright members of society instead of being a more punishment. He said, and I quote, "As Amnesty International, we will press for 20 years, and if 20 years is not acceptable in the country, then 30 would be sufficient. The way to look at life imprisonment is not as a way of locking people away from a long period of time, but creating the conditions for people to be rehabilitated so that they can return to society." End of quote. Kenya's current law, drafted in the 1930s by its former colony Britain, states that a person can be sentenced to death if found guilty of murder, robbery with violence, or treason. The judiciary, on the other hand, had section 220 and 222 amended to remove the words "for life" and replace them with "for a period not exceeding 30 years. The government yesterday revoked a Gazette notice issued on November 7, 2023 that announced an increase in charges for services such as passport, ID, work permit, birth and death certificate applications to allow for public participation on the same. Following the announcement for the withdrawal of the earlier Gazette notice, the Interior CS has gazetted a new intended charges for the same services which take effect on January 1, 2024. In the new Gazette notice, the government has made minimal changes, with most of the charges such as application of passport, death and birth certificates being retained as previously published on November 7, 2023. The only significant change is ID application, which will now be 300 Kenyan shillings. However, the fee for the replacement of the lost IDs will now be 1,000 Kenyan shillings instead of 2,000 as previously announced. The application of the standard size 34 passport has been set at 7,500 Kenyan shillings from the current 4,500 Kenyan shillings. While announcing the new charges, Kindiki said that the government shall waive fees for Kenyans who demonstrate an inability to pay. The High Court suspended the revoked notice with another petition filed against the revision of the charges on Tuesday. 5 suspects involved in the theft of 94.9 million from Quickmart supermarket will remain in custody for a period of 10 days pending further investigations. The suspects were arrested on Sunday for allegedly stealing the money and abandoning the company's vehicle in the South Sea area of Nairobi. Israel Patrick Gitonga, the owner and the driver of the vehicle suspected to have ferried the cash, was arrested in Rongai, while other suspect Michael Jeru Samuel Onyango were nabbed at Kayole area. Detectives then pounced on Martin Deru Nganga, who was found with 9.1 million in his rented house. Police is still currently pursuing more suspects who are believed to have planned and executed the heist. And finally, Qatar are now urging Israel and Hamas to reach an agreement on releasing hostages seized in October 7 attack, saying that the situation in Gaza is worsening every day. Speaking yesterday at a press conference in Doha, Qatar Foreign Ministry spokesman Majid bin Mohammed Al Anasri said the deteriorating situation in Gaza is hindering mediation talks. He said, and I quote, "We believe there is no other chance for both sides other than this mediation to take place and to reach a situation where we can see a glimmer of hope in this terrible crisis." End of quote. The Gulf state has led a negotiation for the release of hostages and a temporary ceasefire in the war sparked by the Hamas attack on southern Israel over a month ago, which had claimed more deaths, mostly civilians. That will be the end of our news today. Thank you for watching. I've been your host, Omar Clement. Until next time, have a lovely day.